in my phones, I should say, that were lost or stolen was the most condemning evidence against the police. These people who are pissed off at me because I recorded them without their permission and posted it on the internet. Most of them they're not scared of me, they're scared of the public. They're scared of being targeted the way I was, and many people were targeted. Many people were harassed and had their lives threatened. But these people needed to come forward about it. They needed to write that down. They needed to send it into the police. A lot of people are pissed off because after months and months and months of me waiting on them to keep their goddamn word, they never fucking did. The things that I recorded in those phone calls are the things that they should have written down. Shannon Alvarado should have reported on what Kara Johnson Miles was up to, because the police aren't going to listen to me. And I can't even sit down and go through all of this. I need a safe environment. That means some peace and fucking quiet, where I don't have to be afraid that I'm disrupting somebody else's life. Where I could actually make those fucking phone calls. Now, these police officers all across the board did everything they could to hide the wrongdoing of their fellow officers. Instead of following the law and doing something about the gang stalking and harassment against a mentally disabled person, they refused to take a report and hid the wrongdoing of their fellow officers by calling me mentally ill instead, which conjures up images of Jeffrey Dahmer and Ted Kaczynski. These people who did me wrong, they did everything in their power to try to discredit me so that my words didn't matter, so that it was fine that they didn't do their fucking jobs. I need access to the evidence that I should have had to begin with. When I was in Arapahoe County, I was tortured, into pleading guilty. But you know what? A lot of slander was spoken in those court dates. A lot of slander and libel was written in those court dates. And my public pretender didn't do her job. My plan when I was released on the 18th was going to be to go across the street and file a report against the public pretender's office. All of these things I need help with. The things that Mandy Hughes did, she needed to write down. I shouldn't have had to record our conversations. See, here's the thing. The police did everything in their power to prevent me from getting the help that I needed, to prevent me from having the resources that I needed to defend myself against the public, a public who never should have attacked me to begin with, over slander. They did everything in their power to prevent me from being able to face my accusers in the fucking courtroom. I was fucking tortured in all of the jails that I was in, both physically and mentally. I need an advocate. I have been trying to get an advocate for over 3 years. I was supposed to have an advocate when I turned 18, but I didn't have one. I was dropped off at 18 with one shoe, one fucking shoe, a t-shirt, and a pair of pants. No ID, no driver's license, no birth certificate, no nothing. I was alone, and I was targeted because I was alone. My worst predators in my lifetime until this happened were my family. My mom and my dad mostly. They did more harm to me than anyone else. The harm that they did to me was worse than being raped. I was raped because of the harm that my parents did. I was beaten up for the color of my skin because of the harm that my parents did. They chose drugs over their own children. Instead of speaking up about what they knew, they kept their damn yap shut. They didn't give a fuck what happened to me. See, that's the difference between me and all of these people. At least I admit when I fuck up. At least I admit when I do wrong. Without an advocate to go in with me, I'm fucked. Without a safe place where I can sit down and not have to worry about getting in trouble for making the phone calls that I need to make. That's the problem with being stuck in public. When I was in the Starbucks all over the United States, having to work on that shit, I had to go outside to make my phone calls. The things that I recorded, I shouldn't have had to record those things. The police should have done their jobs. If I'd had an advocate, I could have had the help that I needed to organize the things that I needed to organize to show that I was gang stalked. Because police are involved, law enforcement covers up for the wrongdoing of other officers. They made every single excuse that they could not to look at the evidence. Most of the hell that I went through is in Colorado. How do you force the cops to do their jobs? You have to have someone go in with you for your own safety, to be a witness. That's what a fucking advocate does. You don't have to have a college degree to be an advocate. When I ask people for help with this, they're like, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer. Bitch, you're a fucking witness. These people who defended me to begin with on Facebook, they didn't realize how fucked up a situation I am still going through. They didn't need to defend me on Facebook. They needed to write that shit down and turn it into the fucking cops. A lot of people fucking treated me like shit because I changed. Of course I fucking changed. I needed your fucking help. And all I got was fucking abuse. I got abuse from the people who said that they would help me. How fucked up is that? I had to go to drug addicts and alcoholics for fucking help, for Christ's fucking sake. All these people kept on shipping me from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. And then they say, oh, we can't do anything about that. It's out of jurisdiction. These officers who did wrong, their fellow officers did everything in their power not to take a report about those officers. Doing everything in their power to stall until they could get those officers somewhere else, so those officers didn't have to face the criminal charges that should have been brought against them. Gang stalking is a felony. Conspiring to prevent evidence from coming forward is a felony. The thing is, these officers all committed felonies and thought it was fucking funny. You have no idea how many officers fucking laughed at me and made jokes at me for trying to get the help that I needed. When an officer is talking nicely to you, there is a 100% chance, 100% chance that officer is trying to lull you into a false sense of security. And they're going to do some fucked up shit. 100% chance. Now, if you're not alone, it's different. If you're not alone, they might actually listen. They might actually do their fucking jobs. But if it's just you, and you're mentally disabled, they're going to ignore the abuse against you. Someone needed to go in with me. And other than Molly Smith, nobody ever did. The guy that I'm staying with, obviously he has no problems with helping me. He's letting me stay under his roof. But as far as going in to talk to the police with me, yeah, he's not going to do that. He has enough anxiety of his own. I literally broke the law because I had no other fucking choice. They used my disabilities as their excuse for abusing me. Meanwhile, I've got people who are claiming that they're gonna help, that should have come forward about all of the hell that we went through. For Katie Cahill, it's no big fucking deal. She didn't lose her fucking job over this. She didn't lose her fucking family over this. She didn't lose her fucking roof over this. Most of these people were just fucking with my head. Like Cara Rogers, obviously just fucking with my head. See, that's the thing, is that I can connect Cara Rogers and the police and the Bollinger family and their extended family and the people who are threatening my life all together. They all worked together to do this. And I've provided plenty of fucking evidence, both on Facebook and on YouTube. You know, I've never raped anybody. I've never molested anybody. I've never killed anybody, and I have never stalked anybody. But I sure as fuck harassed the shit out of the people that did. I harassed the rapists. I harassed those who slandered my fucking name. These people should have come forward instead of being fucking cowards. It's not that people weren't offering to help. It's that they never fucking did. The help that I needed, the help that I went to these places for, I didn't get. And then they want to throw it in my face after the fucking mass quantities of abuse at Shannon Alvarado's. Massive quantities of abuse. And it wasn't towards me. It was mostly towards Rick. And who did Rick take it out on? He took it out on me for speaking out about it because he feels demasculated. Miss Peaches was not abusive to me for the most part. I mean, she was verbally abusive, but she didn't see it that way, so it's fine. When it happens to you, it's a terrible thing. When you do it to others, it's justified, isn't it? Assisted suicide should be legal for anybody, anyone. It doesn't matter if you're 6 years old or 60. If you're not allowed an honest day in court and you're not allowed to face your accusers and they can torture you into fucking submission, you should be allowed to fucking die. I shouldn't have had to do the illegal things that I did. I only had to break the law because law enforcement repeatedly broke the law. And they were able to get away with it because I didn't have an advocate. They were able to get away with not taking a police report because I didn't have an advocate. They were allowed to assault me because I didn't have an advocate. They intentionally pushed me to the point of having a meltdown to justify their abuse. You know what it's like when you try to turn in a police officer and they ship you off to a fucking nuthatch and have drugs put into you? I'm not a fucking violent person. I was assaulted repeatedly every fucking time. All I needed was someone to actually go in with me. Miss Peaches kept on saying she would. And then when I'd get there, she'd make this same fucking excuse about this goddamn Mexican family. What the fuck does a goddamn Mexican family have to do with me and my situation? And her whole story with that Mexican family, well, how does it end? They worked together. This Mexican family worked together. They went in together, and something got done. That's the moral of the fucking story she should have took from it. Because that was the outcome. It's all fine and dandy when the police say that shit, but when I say it, I'm the devil, right? Miss Peaches did not make much fucking effort to go in with me to talk to the police. Matter of fact, she didn't make any. The efforts that she made to go in to talk to the police were only when it wasn't going to do any fucking good. At 5 o'clock at fucking night? Yeah, that's not going to do any fucking good. I am right to be pissed off at these people. Because they should have come forward at the very fucking beginning. I didn't have an advocate, so I had to go to Miss Peaches for help. I didn't have an advocate, so I had to go to Joanna Taylor Smith for help. And all of these people, if I push too hard to explain to them the help that I need, I get fucking yelled at. You know what really sent me over the edge with Miss Peaches? She said I should have tried harder. We were talking about how before Natalie died, how I'd gone over there 4 times to get help. And she never fucking followed through. And she said, well, you should have tried harder. I couldn't have fucking tried harder. If I'd have tried harder, she'd have kicked me out of her fucking house. She was already getting fucking short-tempered with me enough. She's allowed to be fucking overwhelmed and I'm not. She's allowed to scream and fucking shout and I'm not. When Natalie disappeared, all I needed was for Miss Peaches to shut the fuck up and listen. You can't help me if you don't know what the fuck is going on. And I'd gone over there 4 times to explain to her what was going on. That Natalie situation was so fucked up. What Ken and Leah did to me is so fucked up. And then there's the bureaucratic red tape that the police use to get away with whatever the fuck they want. If they can prevent you from making a report for 2 years, that's enough for them to get away with whatever the fuck they want. The sheer number of fucking phone calls that I've made to try to get help. I need an advocate to sit there with me. I had to plead guilty to crimes that I didn't even fucking commit in order to get evidence back because I didn't have the money to go to fucking court. My last court date, I was lucky that Brandon Ratner was able to take me. Or I'd have had a warrant out for my fucking arrest in the state of Wyoming. Now, there's gonna be a warrant out for my arrest in June or in July because I'm not gonna pay that fucking money. I have no goddamn income. I needed help. I went to Rihanna's for help. She couldn't help because she was fucking drunk. Look up Ray Ray on my YouTube videos. Listen to the whole video, not the first 5 minutes, the whole fucking thing. Going to Shannon Alvarado's. Yeah, she's a fucking alcoholic, and you can't tell an alcoholic they're wrong. I had to let Miss Shannon fucking talk over me every fucking time, because if I'd have spoken up, she'd have fucking yelled at me like she did to Rick all the fucking time, every fucking night for hours on end. People say you need to let it go. Really? Shannon doesn't let shit go. Meanwhile, the guy that I'm staying with doesn't fucking deserve this. He can barely fucking take care of himself. He can barely afford the bills. Matter of fact, he can't afford the bills. He can't afford his monthly bills, and he's taking care of me. Fuck all of you for not killing me.